Sometimes Mother Nature gives you the kick in the butt you richly deserve. I'm Roger, and I have my bride of 25 years, Lorraine, and our only child, Jessica, who turned 23 last week. My 82-year-old mother, Frances, lives in an assisted living residence. As her only child, I have power of attorney to handle her legal and financial responsibilities. Her health is not good and has gotten much worse over the past year. I was 30 when I married Lorraine, who was 24 years old at the time. I'm a bank executive, and Lorraine works for a nationally recognized fundraising company. Jessica is a recent college graduate, having taken almost 6 years to pass enough classes. She is in love with a successful young man, Craig, who apparently comes from a well-to-do family. They share an apartment near campus. Mother Nature decided to have some fun with us. I was in the basement trying to untangle the Christmas lights. Lorraine was bringing down a sack of food for the freezer when a huge mouse, her words, apparently knocked her down. Okay, maybe the mouse didn't mug her, and maybe she freaked out, screamed, and fell the last few steps. She looked like a ninja warrior doing some head-over-heels counterattack. However, her unplanned gymnastic maneuvers did a real number on the bones and ligaments in her right leg and ankle. The second scream had a lot more emphasis to it. After a few surgeries, Lorraine was in a cast and sidelined from driving for several months. Jessica is to be married before that cast comes off, so Lorraine will be wearing a very black dress. So here I am, crawling around the basement at night with the lights out and shining a black light. If you see an actual mouse in your house, there are very likely many more where it came from. According to the internet, a black light can detect mouse poop and lead you to their international headquarters. I was doing a fantastic job of getting all grimy and dusty. My luck, these mice had cleaned up after themselves. I went near the laundry chute and was greeted with a glow from the laundry basket. It was a very strong glow, and it was on Lorraine's panties. Back to the internet to see what this is all about. I wonder if puke shows up differently with a black light. I hoped I wouldn't find out. Apparently semen, as in cum stains, gives off the sharp glow I am seeing. When I read that, I broke out in a sweat, felt very dizzy, and my stomach started bouncing off of my lungs, heart, and kidneys. As long as I can keep the stomach from discovering my throat, I won't have to toss my cookies. Wait, maybe that stain is from one of the romps we've had recently. Nope, I haven't had sex with her since her accident last week. Jessica has been coming over a couple of days a week to do laundry, help around the house, and take Lorraine shopping. Lorraine wears much larger panties than Jessica, so chances are pretty good that it belongs to Lorraine and was soiled very recently. I put the panties in a Ziploc bag and put it in a drawer of my workbench in the garage. On the internet, I found the neatest little gadget. It's a smartphone case with a built-in backup battery and voice-activated recorder. I ordered one and had it overnighted to my office. It was an easy thing to convince Lorraine to use this new gadget, as her phone was always needing recharge. Every night, I would wait for Lorraine to get ready for bed and then quickly download the audio and reset it for another day. The only shocker was the depth of the disrespect. I knew from the soiled panties that they were meeting 2, sometimes 3 times a week. As strong as my love for Lorraine had been, it had been replaced with hatred, far more consuming. Dealing with this affair, or however many there had been, was nothing compared to the devastation I felt at my daughter's behavior. There were plenty of recordings to choose from, but this is the one I uploaded and turned into text. Mom, you know you're going to get caught. Drop you off at George's house again. Roger is so trusting. It won't happen. Yes, pull into the driveway. George gives me the creeps. What do you see in him? He makes me feel things Roger has never made me feel. Someday you'll find out for yourself. Still, why does he always badmouth Dad? Has he even met him? He has met George at a few of the fundraising events. I don't see you stepping up in your father's defense. Fair enough. Is this ever going to stop? Where's his wife? Why not divorce, Dad? George says his wife is too busy with his kids. There's no need for a divorce. I'm happy. Roger's happy. You're happy. Going to pay for that wedding yourself. Good one. They'll make George happy. Pick you up at noon. The recordings pick up the grunting and moaning of the monkey piling. Unlike those stories I've read, there wasn't any pillow talk about anything. Faint sounds like, oh yeah, this obviously wasn't reviewing the itinerary for the upcoming gala. My mind was blank as to how to get Lorraine to take her phone into the bedroom when she had asked CAD. George, the private investigator, was only able to get coming and going pictures. I knew the dates and times of greater significance was the DNA sample he got from George when he disposed of a coffee cup he had used. I snipped from one of the panties a piece of cum stain and scented it with some of Lorraine's hair. The coffee cup off for analysis. No surprises when those results were returned. After each escapade, I put the panties in a Ziploc bag and used a black marker to date the bag. I put the nightly news on the TV, and when they showed the date on the screen, I took a picture showing the bag and TV screen. I stored the bags in the garage. I had to buy new panties to replace the growing collection. I had done a respectable job of avoiding spending time with Lorraine. Well, actually, it wasn't all that hard, as her indifference towards me made it pretty simple. I did attempt on a few occasions to get Jessica to open up, but she was full of one-word responses. Her body language was that of someone under stress. Perhaps it's the upcoming wedding. The attorney laid out the consequences of the divorce. Split the assets 50-50 and hefty alimony. Since her fundraising work paid very little, obviously, Lorraine thought my choice would be that it's cheaper to keep her out. No way is that cheating whore getting paid to screw George. Seems like I need to retire and give all of my wealth away. I molded the order of events and started building my exit strategy. I told Lorraine that we should think about getting her a new car and had her sign the title so we could act quickly if we found a bark. I was told that it was about time. Yes, it was, my dear. I reasoned that Francis should secure lockboxes in most of the banks around our fair city. I started converting my assets into American Eagle gold coins and giving them to Francis in the lockboxes. Cashing in my 401k and paying the penalty was a no-brainer. Brokerage accounts and life insurance policies took a little more time, but Lorraine, scumsucker that she was, showed no sign of acquiring morals anytime soon. I put a vacation hold on the mail so I could intercept everything. Lorraine and I had established a home equity line of credit. We had used it to pay for 6 years of college. I'm guessing I never paid for an ethics course. I was able to run up the debt to the maximum the bank would allow. I started buying from gold dealers in nearby cities to spread the purchases around. As long as I was in those cities, I opened a few more lockbox accounts for Francis. The end was in sight. Jessica's wedding was a week from Saturday. Francis refused to sell her home, so it sat vacant until now. I purchased one of those no-contract cell phones. I was able to get a pretty good early retirement bonus and turned the final paycheck into cash. Returning to my house, I started packing. After several car loads, my prized possessions were enjoying a new address. I left my bedroom looking like I was still living there. I had left very little money in any of the joint accounts. I printed out statements and visited with the attorney again. I would have Lorraine served at her fundraising gala in 2 days. My net worth wasn't enough to pay the upcoming credit card bills and mortgage. I lined up the 13 bags with pants and shot a video, zooming in on the date and TV screen of each. After the upload finished, I attached it to the emails which were about to be sent, also attaching the PI reports, the voice recording transcript, and the DNA analysis. It made for a nice package. Jessica arrived to take Lorraine to the gala. No reason for me to attend. You know, people I don't know. I get bored, yada yada, got it. I'm just the banker. The backstabbers had left, so I set about reporting credit cards stolen and cancelling cell phones. The ad created to sell Lorraine's car attracted a cash buyer who was knocking on my door. Price cars below Blue Book, and the response is lively. The chain reaction was underway. While waiting for the confirmation that Lorraine had been served, I finished cleaning out what I had left in my bedroom. Just before Lorraine was to make her keynote speech, she was served. I received the confirmation call and was warned by the report of her going spastic and dragging her sorry ass out to Jessica's car. I turned on my computer and started sharing the good news. Emails were cyberspreading my anger. I was not going to let his wife remain in the dark any longer. I apologize if you did not want to know. I did want to know, and no one had the decency to inform me. Your husband George and my wife Lorraine have been enjoying an extended affair. George, I believe you have a meeting in the morning with your board of directors, your director of charitable giving. George and one of his assistants, my wife Lorraine, have been having sex while drawing your paychecks. I will contact you to discuss how best to keep your organization out of the news. I suspect some of your major contributors may lack the understanding necessary to keep funding. Home records, you will be required to inform anyone seeking a reference that George is not suited to managing people. I won't let you pass the trash. Lorraine, enjoy your new life, slut wife. I loved you with all of my heart unconditionally. It wasn't enough for you. I have resigned from my job and moved out of the house. I have converted all of our assets to cash and given it away. We have few assets left, so whether you get half of them or all of them, we will be in bankruptcy within a few months. You might be able to live with your boyfriend, although his life is about to be turned upside down. What I can never forgive is your corruption of Jessica. May you die a slow, miserable death, you worthless slut. Roger, and the one that hurt me the most. Craig and Jessica, it is with a very heavy heart that I must inform you that I will not be escorting Jessica down the aisle at your wedding. I have recently learned that her view of wedding vows and mine are completely incompatible. Jessica has not only known of her mother's infidelity but has worked to facilitate it, helping to systematically destroy my 25-year marriage. Leaves me no choice but to excuse myself from your wedding. Craig, I could not look you in the eyes and deliver to your arms someone who thinks that marriage vows are only something you babble during your ceremony. If I said nothing and she eventually follows her mother's tutoring, I could not live with myself knowing you would be feeling the same pain and suffering I am enduring. If you would still like me to attend, I will, but only as a guest in the background. Jessica, I'm more than disappointed with you but will always love you. You will understand this more when you have children of your own. Best wishes, Roger. I turned the computer off and left my home for quite possibly the last time. I parked a few blocks away, walked back, and waited. As I figured, Jessica drove up and sprinted into the house. Lorraine was limping towards the door when Jessica announced, "He's not here. His closet is empty. There's not much left in his office." Whether they knew it or not, they were feeling things those in the Great Depression had felt. People had placed their trust and faith in the banks, always being there, only to end up with nothing but memories when the runs on the banks occurred. It only took a few days for people to track me down, as I had made no attempt to hide from anyone. The venom spewed in my direction was somewhat helpful. Misery does, in fact, love company. How could you? Was constantly tossed in my direction. Really? My bad. What was I thinking? Wait, isn't that my question to you? Craig called off the wedding. Who saw that coming? I never shed a tear until I opened my door a few days after the divorce was finalized and found Jessica standing there. I cannot begin to describe the pain, look on her face, with her lips quivering as she forced her words out in a shaky voice. "I'm sorry." I opened my arms and she buried her head in my chest and held me close. I wrapped my arms around her. She softly sobbed for more than several minutes. Eventually, she pushed away, looked into my eyes but was unable to form the words. I offered, "Stay." Next time she whimpered and again tried to say something but abandoned the attempt with, "I need to go." She turned and walked away. When I felt the wet spot on my shirt from her tears, I was unable to prevent my tears from joining hers. The healing has begun. I watched the business news much more than I ever had, and I'm constantly checking the price of gold. Francis gives me a gold coin every once in a while. Lorraine, now working the swing shift at a gas and go, is unable to make any of the payments, and I am in no position to do so either. Foreclosure is in my future. Once the divorce was finalized, the fundraising organization and I came to a mutually beneficial arrangement, such as those things go. I legally can't disclose any details. George is having trouble finding work. His ex-wife is still busy with his kids. I never did find any mice in the basement. I guess that ninja attack did the trick. Before starting the story too, I think some of you are tired of listening to this two-story together. Who's tired? Let's take a cup of coffee. My story is quite long. I have been with my GF for about 9 years, and I support her 100% financially. She quit working as soon as we moved in together, so I had to support her. She also has a 20-year-old daughter that lives with us, that I also support. It started when I went to visit my parents for Christmas. She didn't want to come, so I went alone. My parents live on the East Coast, and I'm currently on the West Coast. She told me she's going to go to a cabin on Boxing Day with her friends and their kids. I thought this was a little suspicious, leaving her daughter on the day after Christmas, but I didn't say anything. When she got there, I asked her to send me photos, but she was barely texting me and wouldn't answer my phone calls unless she was outside. How I found out she was lying was that I knew she had a guy friend that she played an online game with, and I knew where he lived. We knew each other's passwords on everything, so I checked Find My iPhone, and she was in his town and not where she said. I called her right away and told her that I knew where she was and I want her to tell me. She kept lying, saying she was at the cabin with her friends. Finally, I said to her that I know you're with him, and I want you to admit it. She did admit it but said that they are just friends. So why lie about it? Things were horrible when we both got back home. I said if you want us to still be together, then he has to go, no more gaming with him or chatting. She didn't agree with this and kept gaming with him. So things were awful. No sex or affection at all between us. Fast forward to about a month and a half later, I had to go out of town for work and would be gone for a few weeks. Still at this point, she had no idea how I found out where she was. The day after I left, she called and told me she was at her best friend's house about 30 minutes from our house. But I was looking at the Find My iPhone app again, and she was at an airport close to that guy's town. I called her right away and told her we were done. She lied and lied before she finally told me she's with him again, but she said they're just friends. I hung up on her, and she immediately called me back over and started texting me. So I answered the phone and said we'd talk things over when we both got back home. I had no intention of talking about anything with her. I lied this time. When I got back home, she was already there. I told her that I was very upset and confused and needed some time to think. She was trying to hug and kiss me, but I wasn't having it. I packed up all my clothes, movies, video games, and computer and stayed with my brother for a couple of weeks while I was looking for an apartment. As soon as I got my apartment keys, I blocked her and all her family and ghosted her. Only saw her once after that at a local grocery store where she cornered me and asked me to unblock her and that we needed to talk. She followed me around and wouldn't leave me alone until I exploded and shouted that I can't talk to you because you cheated on me, and she looked so embarrassed and walked away from me. Thank you for joining us on our channel, where we bring you real-life stories that explore the complexities of the human experience. We hope that our stories have provided you with insights, inspiration, and a renewed appreciation for the power of human resilience. Our storytellers have shared their unique perspectives and experiences, shedding light on issues that are often overlooked or misunderstood. We are honored to have been able to amplify their voices and share their stories with you. We believe that storytelling has the power to create understanding and empathy, and we are committed to continuing to share stories that challenge and expand our understanding of the world. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel and stay connected with our community. By subscribing, you will be the first to know about new stories and events, and you'll have access to a library of inspiring content. Thank you for being a part of our journey, and we look forward to sharing more powerful stories with you in the future.